probably better ways to grow as a content creator than streaming in Ashes for the last year or two for like a lot of these people. Like you talk about Samurg, who streamed every day for a year only in Ashes of Creation. Like there are better ways to grow, but it's the passion that matters. It's amazing. Like, and that's the community we have. That's the community that Steven and Intrepid and Maggie have all helped foster, and Toast, Toast, the unsung hero that answers everyone's questions and deals with all the stupid shit. But yeah, and that's what New World needs to, take sight of. That's what any developer needs to take sight of. It's what Blizzard lost. Blizzard no longer has any kind of community. And then they're like, well, why are people mad at us? Why are you shit talking us? It's like, well, you haven't done anything to support your community.
Well, and we can talk about that as a gaming studio as well. That gaming studio is falling apart. If anyone ever says the WoW killer again, I'm just going to laugh in their faces because WoW is clearly the WoW killer. Oh my God.
I mean, it's still the WoW. Yeah, there is a WoW killer. It's a thing. It's just them. It's them. It's not your themselves. New game. It's them. It's them. I definitely looked the other day at at Steven's food truck that he said. Oh, that was great.
I think that's just still the biggest dick move of all time. I mean, 10 Men, I don't know if you heard about that, the food truck Steven sent?
No, I saw the picture and everything he did, and then somebody secretly from Blizzard, I read their post back to it. They were so great. But he didn't post anywhere about that though. He didn't
he just did it.
He just did it. He did it for fellow developers.
I mean, he knew it was going to come out, but
of course it's always going to come out. But just
Steven's a salesman. He knew what he was doing. Yeah. But it's still huge. But it's also something like what you get. That's a risk for him as well. Goes both ways.
It's taking a side, but I think it's taking the side of public opinion, right? So I don't think it's necessarily that. But I mean, I say it's public opinion. I'm not sure if it's public opinion. I would love for somebody to debate me as to why cube crawls are a positive thing within a gaming company. But
it's interesting that you brought that up because we read out first off, whoever was working at Blizzard felt it necessary to use a secret, brand new account.
Oh, of course.
Even say it, which was so sad. And even after that person had received free lunch that day, and they were truly grateful, towards the end of the post, they used "and to receive this from a competitor." And I actually just wrote down that word again because, and I'm so glad you brought it up because right now, I see so many videos that are like Pantheon versus Ashes or New World versus Ashes or New World versus WoW. And it's like everybody, and it's clearly even the developers at Blizzard, consider Steven a competitor instead of a collaborator. I've heard this term so many different places, but a rising tide lifts all ships. We want
Roll Tide
World of Warcraft to be good. If they get their shit together and 9.2 is great, if Endwalker comes out for Final Fantasy 14 and it's great, if New World is wonderful, and I know I've heard y'all on your YouTubes also say things like this, and I love it, and that's why I want to bring it up, is a rising tide lifts all ships. If New World's great, which is why I want it to be great, selfishly for Ashes, but if New World's great and a ton of people are playing it when Ashes comes out, and they're like, oh, New World was cool, but I love how ambitious Ashes is. They seem to have taken this to a whole nother level. Then that's more of a chance for Ashes to succeed. And I feel like Steven knows that, but that person wrote even in the thank you note to him from that. And so crazy to see this from a competitor, which is just such an interesting insight to how Blizzard, it had the ideology in their culture, right? Of that guy's the enemy, which is so weird.
Yeah. And we've used this, Bardic and I have used this example many times on stream. We've talked about it privately, we've talked about it publicly, but being in the restaurant industry for many years, I mean, I'm sure we have a couple decades between the two of us. When you look at if you open up a restaurant on Main Street and it's you and a bunch of dentist office and lawyers, you're going to get some people to come in. Fine. If there are 20 restaurants in that downtown, everybody comes down there because they don't know where they want to go. So competition isn't necessarily bad. WoW isn't competition for Ashes. Final Fantasy 14 isn't competition for New World. You know what's competition for all the MMOs? Fortnite.
Yeah.
Valorant. Overwatch. Apex. The game, it's converting those players into people that will love MMOs. Because I know, being in some of the older demographic of gaming, I remember playing platformers into shooters, and then MMOs was where I stopped because I found my love. That was MMOs was where it was at. So how do we get these battle royale and these shooter people to come in and start loving MMOs as well? How do we get these people into the community? Because you look at people, you look at all the people that outside of Asmongold that Steven went and did all the influencer stuff. Tim got big from Overwatch. Shroud got big at anything where you put a reticle over somebody's head and shot it. You converted a government robot who's great at shooters into loving, but all these guys grew up on MMOs. That's their love. This is their job and what they're good at, but this is their love.
MMOs and action RPGs. A lot of them are very passionate about their Path of Exile or whatever. It's true. But it is more than that. But I do want to refute you a little bit there, Ten Man, and just say there's not competition is good. I do view all of my fellow content creators as competition, but there's nothing wrong with being professional or friendly competition. You can boost each other up, right? We can push each other to be better. But the fact of the matter is, there's been no competition for Blizzard for so long. Even now, there's not really. Final Fantasy 14 is about it. Is the only game that even comes close to being, a half decent MMO. We just don't have good MMOs. So, competition, but also collaboration. I think it's a combination of the two. And yes, we are vying for views from each other, for example. But we can still lift each other up, right? There's absolutely nothing wrong with saying, hey, you're my competition, but we can be friendly and we can share information. You can you can give me constructive feedback. You can say, hey, here's what's wrong with me. Here's what's wrong with you. We can just have an open conversation about it. And I think that's the biggest thing, is this idea that we can't have open information. We can't have a very logical conversation about here's what's wrong with you. Here's what do you see wrong with me? Okay, here's how I would fix you. Here's how you would fix me, vice versa. And you don't listen to all of it, right? But we were talking about Zillion earlier. Zillion taught me a lot about being better on YouTube. I was very scripted. I had a script that I read, and now I still have kind of I script more than Zillion does, but it's not scripted that you notice. It's just bullet points, and then I just talk on the bullet points. But the bullet points is a notepad that's just scrolling, and it's just I'll just kind of go through all those. But I learned so much from Zillion, and he is my competitor, yes, but he's also a really good friend, a really good collaborator. So that's the way I look at it.
It's not a zero-sum game. Content creation, as well as game development, as well as most of these things, it's not a zero-sum game. It's not that, when Tenman gets a view, Bardic loses a view. When Fane gets a view, Super loses a view. It's not that way because we're not on all the time. Like Bardic said, I'm working with Zillion right now. We're doing this kind of split YouTube thing, and we're leveraging his audience into mine. And then in the same way that he's helping me a lot with YouTube, he's probably in my DMs every other day, how do I do this on Twitch? How do I do this on Twitch? And whereas, he's got 1.5K YouTube, I'm at 300. He's at 500 on Twitch, I'm at 1.2K. We use each other's strengths, and we lift each other up. And I think that Bardic and I, it's why Bardic and I get along so well. We totally agree on that. And then Super shows up because he can fucking just rail on Fane for 2 hours every single week and get all his frustrations out. It's perfect. It's amazing. I love it.
I love both those points. And I love what you said, Bartik, because competition breeds excellence. That is a term that I've heard before. And the way you look at it is the other side of that same coin. Because we do, there wasn't somebody challenging Blizzard for decades, just pushing them to be better and better and better, because there was just the biggest fish in the pond for so long. So I agree.
They got complacent.
Yeah, and they got complacent instead of competition breeding that excellence. So I do see it that way too, and on the that other side of the same coin when we have these discussions, because we do I want to see 20 MMOs that are insanely good, And it will just like if we it would take quite a long time to get there from where we are now, but that's like the dream that I have, because it will create insane competition. Like I want to see Path of Exile make a really fast paced MMO, just because I love MMOs and I want to see
fun. Yeah.
or World of Diablo. Like I kept always
oh
saying,
my god,
like World of Diablo felt like
or World of StarCraft.
Yeah. Yeah,
StarCraft. Yeah,
World of StarCraft. Like I would have like been like, maybe they considered it to be competition internally of their own MMO, and maybe that's what New World just thought with the Lord of the Rings. But I was like, wait a minute, no, it will just bring different types of people from different parts of fantasy, different parts of nerdom. Our whole community would be able to have like some place you could go that was your MMO, and there's so many people playing MMOs. It's like 20 incredibly competitive things that are they get like nuance, like they have their amazing community. And if that's what you want, something exists out there for you. Because right now I feel like I'm one of the people that's not super excited about New World, but of course there's so little to even grasp onto. So many different people from different parts of MMOs are trying to be at least part or affiliated in New World in some way.
Mhm.
I think that's because we barely, in my opinion, like tip of the iceberg on what MMOs could be, and their interactiveness and everything how far we could go. So,
well, and I think that competition breeding excellence is why I'm actually excited, even though we don't know much about it, for Riot's new MMO.
Mhm.
Because listen, I don't play MOBAs.
And
Not a League of
Palia.
Legends guy. And Palia is an interesting side thing. We definitely Palia is like MMO light, so you can bring the casuals into the genre before you really make them go off in the deep end. Like build your farm and now manage your node, right? But you look at a company like Riot,
the MMO that gives you a hug while you're playing. Whereas
that's what
but that's what everyone wants. Super.
Whereas all
everyone
the other
wants
ones,
a hug.
All the other ones hug you while they're shoving the knife in your back.
Yeah.
My girlfriend is not very interested in MMOs. I actually think it's because she finds them to be quite daunting, and she'd love them if she got into them, because we play a lot of games together, but not MMOs. With Palia, I think it could be the bridge where we watched that video together, and she was like, "Oh, I'd play that."